Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. It's Friday, and we've got things to talk about. News to cover. Pierre Poilievre taking pot shots at Justin Trudeau, leader of the Conservative Party, saying Trudeau was a human pinata at the NATO summit. Biden still fighting for his life. Trudeau fighting for his life and fighting, I think, with his deputy prime minister, Chrystia Freeland. Not looking good there. What else? RFK Jr. He's fibbing a little bit. Well, at least his campaign team seems to be fibbing just a little bit. I'll show you how. We have climate change, electric vehicle stuff to talk about. It looks like they don't want to just ban gasoline-powered cars. They want to prevent you from fixing the car that you have. I mean, they don't want to just ban new gasoline vehicle sales. They want to prevent you from fixing the one you already have so that you have to throw it away. I'll tell you how they're going to do that. What else? We have, that pier that they built in Gaza. Yeah, they're pushing ahead with their plan to tear it down after they fixed it. Oh, man, I don't know what else to tell you. But whatever I come up with, I'll share it on the other side of this. So don't go away. I'll be right back.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's start with Donald Trump. He everybody's talking now about who Donald Trump's VP pick might be, when it might happen, and he has been teasing us with this whole question, and 4 names have now emerged as being on the short list for Trump. And I mentioned this, even, was it last night or the night before? Probably both nights. So according to Trump, in an NBC News interview, his short list of running mates, possible running mates, includes Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, J.D. Vance of Ohio, North Dakota GOP Governor Doug Burgum, and also in the running is Senator Tim Scott. So those are the 4 that have emerged as the 4 finalists. Is that accurate? Who knows? I did notice that when Trump was at his event in Doral, Florida, I mentioned this during his speech because we were carrying that speech live right here on Maverick News. And I said, listen to what he's doing. He keeps making reference to Marco Rubio. He keeps saying, hey, Marco. He must have done that at least half a dozen times. I will predict right now, this is my prediction. Don't hold me to it. I think it's going to be him. I think Marco Rubio is the guy. I think he'll be the running mate. Just based on the interaction at the speech in Doral, the way the media is playing this out, and when you look at that short list of 4 final names, I think he's the strongest of the 4. And I think he would probably be the guy that would be on the policy side. I think that he appeals most to the conservative element of the party and reaches across within the party to appeal to pools of voters, pockets of voters within the Republican Party that might otherwise not want to support Trump. So I think Rubio makes Trump more palatable to some of the people within the party that otherwise might find him a little too distasteful to vote for because of his bombastic style at times. So there's my prediction. I think that's what's going to go down with Donald Trump. I think that'll be the guy. And look for that to happen within the next week. Certainly, as that convention rolls out, I think we're going to see that take place. Biden. Okay, let's shift over to Biden now, because all eyes are on Biden. Will he survive his disastrous debate performance and his disastrous performance at the NATO summit just last night? What a dumpster fire that was. The media saying that he had at least 2 or 3 major mistakes that he made, but I counted 16 times at least when he screwed up during that news conference last night. He is in deep trouble. Today, Biden was out campaigning in Michigan. He needs to shore up support there. He's looking for votes within the Muslim community there. Dearborn in particular. Big Muslim community, and that's why Biden is up there campaigning. He needs to entrench himself there a little bit more. It's a key battleground state. And his first order of business when visiting Michigan today was to, apparently, on social media, they're saying it was to sniff a child.
Behind, and some of your colleagues are worried that it's going to get worse. Do you think it'll get worse?
I lost the sound.
All right, we lost the sound here. Guys, can we then go to this event in Northville, Michigan? Let's see if the president behind, and some of your colleagues are worried
what does he do? He walks
that
over.
It's going to get worse. Do you think it'll get worse?
I lost the sound.
And these other.
All right, we lost the sound here. Guys, can we then go to this event
the kid on the
in
head
Northville, Michigan? Let's see if the president behind, and some of your colleagues.
You can't make this stuff up. Like you just can't. Unbelievable. Does he not pay any attention? Does he not know that by doing something like that, he's hurting himself? And then there was this sort of, I don't know, semi-coherent babble that came from Biden at the event as he's referring to his, I guess, I don't know, his wife.
She looks like my wife, Jill. And they go, "Are you married?" I say, "Yeah," but I don't tell them who. Anyway, thank you. You all need this like another hole in your head on a beautiful day like this to come in to say hi. And I can't thank you enough.
You need this like a hole in the head. What was that all about? Was that, am I missing something here? What was that? Like, I'm just sitting at, like, I don't know. She looks like my wife. Okay. Weird. Just kind of weird. But hey, this whole thing's been weird. Just the fact that you have a guy who is quite literally in mental decline running to be the president is weird. And Kamala Harris, she's honestly, I can't believe I'm leading this newscast / broadcast with this stuff, but she's pretty weird too. You crazy coconut heads, this is her speech today.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, "I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?" You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Did you get that? Okay, so let's just be clear. Rational thought, reason, the Enlightenment, it's all out the window. Nothing matters. It's all in the context. You see, this is what happens when you go woke. You lose your mind. And then you just have to live in the context. You crazy coconut heads, you can be anything you want. Just identify with whatever it is you choose to identify with or as. What'd you do? You just fall off a coconut tree? I'll be right back. I can't take it anymore.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. I'm just going to check the chat here. Let me go over to Rumble and check the chat there. I just want to see who's kind of hanging out. Okay. All right. Somebody sent me a video. Well, a bunch of people sent me videos, but one person in particular sent me a video and said, "Video doesn't lie." You know who you are. I'm going to show you a video. It's not the one that he sent me, but it made me think. And I came across this just as we were about to go to air. And I'm going to tell you that video sometimes is made to lie. People use video to lie. They do what Kamala Harris just said. They add context to video that otherwise might not say what it is that the video is supposed to say. The video, in its own context, representing whatever it represents visually, is taken out of context when new context is overlaid. That's how you make video lie. Case in point. And I'm not sure if this is lying or if it's truth, but I'll tell you this, it's impossible to know unless you know what the source of the video is, when it was shot, what the true context of this video is. This is melting ice somewhere in the world, apparently at one of the ice caps. And we're being told that this, what you're witnessing here, is the result of climate change and that there is no time to waste. Because the polar ice caps are melting faster than anyone ever imagined. All right. Let's take a look at what this guy says, okay? So here's the post on X from Mike Kudima. The Greenland ice cap is losing around 30 million tons of ice an hour due to the climate crisis, 20% more than what scientists originally thought. No time to waste. Stop fossil fuels. Here's what I'm going to say about that. First of all, how do I know that was shot there? Secondly, how do I know it was shot today? Third, working in media, I can tell you that what is often done in newsrooms all around the world is stock footage is employed when producing stories and social media posts in order to illustrate points, but sometimes inaccurately because the footage is not fresh. Sometimes it's just illustrative, which means they pull footage from 5 years ago of a piece of an iceberg falling off into the ocean, and then they put that on the news or on social media to illustrate global warming. The thing is, it's not necessarily an accurate representation. It doesn't mean it was shot that day. So you can scare people with visuals that are taken out of context. That is part of the propaganda game. So in other words, I can pull, to get video of a chunk of ice falling off an iceberg into the ocean, you might have to sit there for hours or maybe even days, or just happen to capture it randomly by accident, just by luck, that you get that shot that you've been hoping for, waiting for, a great shot, and you just happen to be rolling video at the time. And once you have that, they will recycle that footage over and over and over again. Here again, I don't know. Was that footage shot fresh today? Was somebody in Greenland or Iceland? Where was that again? He was saying, yeah, in Greenland. Was somebody up there today shooting that today, or even this week, this year? Or is he just quoting some person or expert? You see, people make assumptions when they see things like video or a still image, and they draw conclusions from images like that. They're just automatically assuming that that's new, that it's fresh, that it was shot today, but it may not have been. So in that way, video can be made to lie. So you need to question everything you're looking at, online, on television, everywhere, from everyone, and try to find the truth, because sometimes this stuff isn't really telling you the truth. I saw other footage today of a website about, it was like an Epstein website, and there were images all over it of Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein and a bunch of young girls. And it was so fake. You could tell from the way the arms were positioned and the hands. It was done with Photoshop, possibly with some artificial intelligence, and it was just straight up fake. I didn't bother bookmarking the links to the images because it was just totally fake. But anyway, the use of footage like the iceberg stuff, commonly done, commonly, and be aware of that because it can be very powerful and very misleading. Now, Justin Trudeau coming off that NATO summit where he was asked today about President Joe Biden's performance at the NATO summit, his disaster, Biden's disaster. Here's Trudeau responding to a question about Biden.
What is your assessment of President Biden's performance and if he can lead on the global stage?
We are lucky on the world stage to have Joe Biden leading here at NATO, on the G7, in some extraordinarily consequential times. His depth of experience, his thoughtfulness, his steadfastness on the greatest issues and challenges of our time is a credit to the work that we're all doing together, and it has been, as always, a privilege and pleasure to work alongside him on big issues, and I look forward to continuing to.
Tick-tock. Trudeau is in deep trouble. He's in trouble. He's sinking in the polls. Have you seen the latest polls? Oh, let me show you. Here's the 338. And if the election were to be held today, Trudeau, being as unpopular as he is, would be turfed as prime minister. The Conservatives under Pierre Poilievre would have themselves a massive landslide. That is so big, I don't know. I can't think of a government that has ever come up with that number of seats in an election. 213 seats. Liberals would only come away with 72. The Bloc Québécois, 38. The NDP, 18. And the Green Party, 2. And that's the way the election would play out if voters went to the polls today. Last updated July 7th. And this polling generally has proven to be fairly accurate. But that's very, 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 very bad for Justin Trudeau. All that while he's dealing with what appears to be internal conflict within his own party and a developing feud or power struggle between himself and his deputy prime minister. Many people see Chrystia Freeland as Justin Trudeau's likely successor. The person most likely, poised really to take over if or when he steps aside. And I would say there is growing pressure within the party for Trudeau to do just that, especially after that by-election loss, where the Liberals lost that stronghold that they'd had for over 3 decades, now a Conservative riding. And these polling numbers and the scandals and the ongoing heckling And everywhere he goes, he's not popular. Couldn't even go out west to the Calgary Stampede because he knew he'd get heckled. And then even though he didn't show up, people were still yelling and shouting and screaming and chanting F Trudeau at Calgary Stampede events. He is not liked out west. And it seems like the feeling is mutual because I don't think he likes Western Canada very much either. And certainly they've been declaring what amounts to war on the energy industry, the Liberals have. Trudeau and his energy and climate change minister, Stephen Guilbeault, who is an environmentalist and not an environmental extremist, I would say, based on his past actions, his past climate change activism before becoming an elected climate change minister. Guilbeault, pretty radical, pretty extreme. Speaking of that, they want to, when I say they, I mean the government, they want to get rid of all cars, all gasoline-powered cars. And we know that the federal government in Canada wants to do that by, I believe it's 2035. But they're going even further than that. In Quebec, as part of their support for the Trudeau climate change agenda, they have announced that, I believe it's by 2035, not only will they ban the sale of all new gasoline-powered vehicles, and here, let me see if I can find this. They also want to prevent you from fixing your car if your engine blows up. So if you have a gasoline-powered car and the engine blows in it, they're going to ban the sale and use of replacement engines. If you can believe that. I can. They're nuts. They're absolutely nuts. It's a true thing. Right here. Here we go. Used engines among Quebec's total ban. Here, I've got a headline for you. Look at this. Used engines among Quebec's total ban on gas vehicles by 2035. Epoch Times. It is crazy. Draft regulation for Bill 50, printed in the July 10th edition of La Gazette Officielle du Québec, says the ban would take effect on January 1st, 2035. Specifically mentioned are the sale or lease of motor vehicles that are not propelled solely by an electric motor, including vehicles with a hydrogen fuel cell or another means of propulsion that emits no pollutant. Bill 50, which is described as an act respecting civil protection to promote disaster resilience and to amend various provisions relating in particular to emergency communication centers and to forest fire protection, estimates that switching to electric vehicles will save consumers $2.1 million per year in energy costs. I'll believe that when I see it. It will cost businesses in the petroleum sector approximately $434,000 per year in reduced fuel sales. And they want to do this because it's aimed at increasing the number of zero-emission vehicles in Quebec in order to reduce greenhouse gas and other pollutant emissions. So as of 2035, only electric vehicles will be permitted to be sold in the province, according to this new regulation. And we knew that this was coming from the federal government anyway. Now, to add in a ban on replacement gasoline engines, I think it's insane. Here's a shot of an engine in a 1990 Nissan 300ZX. This is an old car that I have, and I'm in the process of repairing, fixing it up. That motor you're looking at right there is a replacement engine. It only has 60,000 kilometers on it. The engine that was in the car blew up. Well, it got a huge clunk in it. And where I bought it, I made a deal so that we could put a new motor in the car to save its life. And it's a pretty cool old car. And because I was able to drop this motor into it, it's got a new lease on life. Putting a motor in an old car is actually an environmentally friendly thing to do. When you recycle or reuse an engine like that still has life left in it, and you extend the life of a vehicle by repairing it, do you know how much carbon capture or carbon mitigation that amounts to? You don't have to burn energy to melt down steel, crush steel, recycle steel, whatever, reform the steel, make all the parts to create a new car. You don't need to make a new motor, a new transmission. You know, if you keep on driving the old cars that you have, you're actually reducing the amount of energy that is needed to get you from point A to point B. That's actually the most fuel efficient thing to do, is to fix old cars. If you look at the bigger picture, not just at strictly how many miles per gallon or equivalent you're getting from an electric vehicle. It's short-sighted thinking in terms of carbon mitigation. And it's all coming to you very soon, by 2035. So if you have a gasoline-powered vehicle, as we get closer to 2035, hold on to it, man. You're gonna miss it when it's gone. And if you do have one, you're gonna need to take care of it, because if the motor blows up, you won't be allowed to put another one in it. Simple as that. I don't know what they would say about, you know, parts to fix the motors. I guess maybe if it blows up, you could rebuild it. I don't know how the regulation is exactly written, but this will have a direct impact also on the classic car industry, and to take a big hit, put a big, it'll hurt the collector car industry. And that is actually a fairly big industry, with vintage automobile restoration and things of that nature. So I don't know if they'll make exceptions for historic vehicles and things of that nature. And of course, on the flip side of that, you have, I guess, people converting old cars into electric vehicles, but then they're not original anymore, and you are really destroying pieces of history when you do that. Okay, I'll be right back, so don't go away.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now, at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
All right, we're back. You can support the channel by liking, sharing, subscribing. Hit the thumbs up, please. Doesn't cost you anything. And it really helps us out a lot. If we could get to 100 thumbs up on our YouTube channels, that would be awesome tonight. 100 thumbs up. That's the goal. Would really appreciate that. And over on Rumble too, give us a big thumbs up over there too. If you don't like us, don't give us a thumbs down tonight. Not that I can stop you. I think some people stop by just to do that, and that's okay. I'm a big boy. I can take your thumbs down. You can also support the channel by donating at maverickdonations.com through the Give, Send, Go. Just type that into the URL. It will take you straight to the donation page, or you can go to freedomreporters.com and donate over there. With a $30 donation or more, I can send you a t-shirt. With a $60 donation or more, I can send you either an embroidered Maverick News shirt, similar to this one, with the Maverick logo on it, or a hoodie. Oh, I have long sleeve t-shirts too, but I need to get donations of at least $40 or more for those. Or is it 45? Either way, if you donate, I'll send you one of those happily at as a gesture of my appreciation. Also tonight, you know what I have here in my hot little hands is brand new set of still shrink wrapped Apple AirPods. From what I understand, these things are worth about $145 if you were to order these online. Let me just check again. So I don't know I can't tell what generation these things are, but they're brand new. I just got them. But we need to pay some bills around here. So I can't say what generation these are. What are they? Second generation or third? Probably third. Hang on, let me just check. Anyway, I'm looking for a donation for these. And yeah, I don't know. But they're brand new. So if we can get a donation for these AirPods, of course, they are compatible with, I don't know, can you use these things with Android devices? Certainly you can with Apple products. I guess it's up to you guys to make sure that they're going to be compatible with whatever it is that you're using. But if I'm looking at this correctly, you're looking at a $150 item, and I don't know, say $75 or more, and whoever sends along the highest donation, I guess, sort of like an auction thing, I guess, is what we're doing here. I'll send you these. Now, if you don't win these, I will send you a shirt. How about that? To make sure that if you make the donation, you still end up with some sort of a prize at the end of the exercise, okay? But yeah, that's 75, so that'd be like half the going rate. But if you donate more than that, whoever donates the most will tonight. I'll ship these out. Just make sure you give me your address and tell me that you're interested in these things. I'd be happy to send them to you as a gift. A token of my appreciation for supporting the program tonight. So, again, you can do that. You better do, Maverick Donations is fine, or you can also do it at freedomreporters.com. maverickdonations.com or freedomreporters.com. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. So, Trudeau, things are very, very, very bad for him, as I mentioned. And Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, capitalizing on all of that today, saying that Justin Trudeau's performance, at the NATO summit, it came off as something of a joke. and says that Trudeau was treated like a human pinata. Here, let's go to this news conference with Poilievre taking pot shots at the Prime Minister.
Les gens qui ont une dépendance, pour leur donner l'espoir de vivre sans drogue. Merci.
On va maintenant passer à la dernière question.
Sorry. Mike Armstrong, Global News. Just to go back to NATO for a moment, I'm wondering about your reaction to the fairly open criticism Canada came under this week and whether you would feel pressure to meet that 2% target.
First of all, it's clear now Justin Trudeau is seen as an absolute joke on the world stage. He was I was embarrassed to see our Prime Minister treated like a human pinata by the rest of the NATO countries. They look upon him with total and complete ridicule. Canadians are tired of being embarrassed by a Prime Minister who prances around and preens, lectures the world without doing his part. Common sense conservatives will cut back on foreign aid to dictators, terrorists, and multinational bureaucracies. We will cut off back office bureaucracy in the Defense Department. We will end the botched procurement that has led to billions of dollars of waste. And we will put all of that money into rebuilding our forces and supporting the front lines of our soldiers, sailors, and airmen. I would add that when the previous Conservative government was in office, we weren't hearing these criticisms. Why? Because we were delivering. It wasn't because we were spending more. It's because we were delivering more. We were able to buy equipment off the shelf, quickly put it into theater, and pound for pound, do more to fight the Taliban in the most dangerous part of the world than almost any other country in NATO. And so the Americans and our other allies were very grateful that we were doing more than our part, regardless of what it financially cost the budget. Now, because Trudeau has wasted so much of the money we do spend, that even the money we are putting to work is being wasted, and we're not getting the results, and therefore our standing on the world is in decline. The other thing he's failed to do, that I will reverse, is use our resources as a geostrategic force. The Japanese, the Greeks, the Germans have all asked for our natural gas so they can break their dependence on Putin. Trudeau says there's no business case. The Americans have built 7 natural gas liquefaction facilities since Trudeau took office. The Qataris have doubled their production. The Germans built an import terminal in 150 days from concept to completion. Obviously, there's a business case. I will be exporting Canada's natural resources, particularly to break European dependence on Putin and turn dollars for dictators into paychecks for our people.
En français aussi.
So that was Poilievre on that, but he says he will not commit to at least not right now, commit to the 2% GDP spending requirement is what it's going to be now, not just a target with NATO, because he says Canada is basically broke because of what Justin Trudeau has done to the country and the budget with all the money printing, the debt. So Poilievre basically saying that he has inherited a gigantic dumpster fire from Justin Trudeau. Also at this news conference addressing exactly that, the economic issues, the social issues today. And those are the things that, those are the issues, those are the kitchen table issues that have propelled him to the top of the polls and will likely propel him to the prime ministership in the next election. Now on the U.S. side again, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I think his campaign team, if not Kennedy himself, might be involved in a little bit of fibbing. Here's an email from the campaign team that came in, and This is what it reads. It says, Forbes Harris X poll taken after the debate confirms what our internal numbers show. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is at 19% in the polls, and RFK Jr. is polling 19% with black voters, 28% with Hispanic, 33% with Gen Z. And then it says here, this is a little weird, with undecided voters, RFK Jr. is pulling an unprecedented 38%. This means we are rising and poised for a breakthrough. The strongest independent candidate in the race is Bobby Kennedy, and the momentum behind our campaign is growing every single day. My question is, how can you have 38% of support from voters who are undecided? If they're undecided, then they haven't made up their minds, which means they haven't picked a candidate. So how can you have 38% support? Makes no sense to me. Kind of weird. Uh-oh, what just happened? Oh, there we are. Okay. I lost my my video there for a minute. So I thought that was odd. And then I went and I found the actual poll that was taken. Let me see if I can find what it is here. Anyway, it's very extensive. I may not have the whole thing up on the screen, but I do have the required or the key shots isolated for you. Here we go. Yeah, let's bring up some of this data on the screen. So in this poll, as you can see, they've really broken this stuff down into different categories, and that's where the fibbing begins and ends. You can make stats like this say just about anything you want, and that's what the Kennedy campaign team is doing. They're going through all of these stats, and they're saying, well, look at this group, and or look at that group. Within this group, Kennedy's polling at this level. And they have all these different categories, right? And they poll on all these different issues. So you can see what people think about the candidates' positions on all these key issues. And then they mix it up a little bit to determine, what level of support each demographic group provides for each of the candidates. They asked about the performance during the debate as well and got data on all of that. But here's the takeaway, okay? Kennedy and his campaign team, they're saying that he's polling at like 19% and they have the momentum on their side, right? Well, let me just see if I have... Yeah, here we go. I've got the video here of Kennedy talking about exactly this. And then I'm going to show you the poll that really matters and see if it meshes with what he is talking about here.
This poll has me now at 19% nationwide. Hey, everybody, I want to tell you the news about the new Harvard-Harris poll. Has me now at 19% nationwide. This is post-debate. Prior to the debate, that same poll had me at about 14%. So I've had a 5-point bump since then. It also has me at 38% among independent voters. So the Gallup poll that came out 2 weeks ago shows that independent voters now 51% of the electorate, only 23% identify as Democrat, 25% as Republicans. If I win those voters, I can win the election. 33% of Gen Z are now supporting me, 28% of Hispanic voters, 19% of Black voters are supporting me, and 19% overall. 4 months to Election Day, and the momentum is on our side. I hope you all had a great Independence Day weekend. Let's gear up for the revolution. God bless you all, and God bless our country.
The revolution. Hey, now that sounds appetizing. Who wants a revolution? Well, I know a couple of people. But here's the poll that really, the part of the poll that really counts. It's what really matters. Okay. If the election were to be held, it had been held right after the debate, this is what the results were, according to this poll. Donald Trump, 43%. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, this is the exact same. I didn't get the screenshot that I was hoping to get. In any event, I can tell you this because I've now lost the screen. Trump comes out ahead. He wins. Here we go. Let me just see if I can. I don't want to be inaccurate about this. So it's right down here at the bottom. I don't have the screenshot. It's too small for you to read it. So I can tell you. That Trump comes out on top. He wins, hands down. And how do I get it to? Sorry, guys. Here we go. All right. Now I can do it. I'll bring it up on the screen. This shows, though, if Kamala Harris replaced Joe Biden, Trump would still win. 43% for Trump, 38% for Kamala Harris. Kennedy would come in at 16%. And then these others, Cornel West and Jill Stein, 2% each. That's a sample size of 1,500. Now, back to the main page for the poll. Scroll down to the bottom. You'll find out where this thing really ends up. And if the 2024 election for president were held today and it was between the following candidates, who would you vote for? And I've lost it. I had it all queued up. And isn't this anticlimactic? Trump wins. Okay. Yeah, 41% for Trump, 36% for Biden, and Kennedy at 16%. If according to this poll, that's where was actually at in that poll. Not at 19, as far as I can see. 16%, Biden 36, and Trump 41. So still, closer than I think some people might think. It's all right there. And Kamala Harris doing just slightly better, I guess. 36% for Biden. If it was Kamala Harris, it was, how much was it? Yeah, 2% more. 38 at that time. So, at that time, it didn't hurt Biden as much in the poll as the media would have you believe. But I think it's worse now because he's had this avalanche of negative publicity following his disaster, his huge debate disaster. So what a mess that is for him. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I think, just taking some liberties with the numbers just a little bit to paint a rosier picture for himself than the reality is. And he's also under pressure, I guess, to take this ad down. He's being accused, or his campaign team is anyhow, of taking clips of major news figures out of context and clipping them together to make it sound like they're supporting RFK or that they're praising him in some way, in ways that they really weren't in the original contexts of their original videos or presentations. And so this is another example of how video can be made to lie. The call to have this taken down coming initially from Jake Tapper over at CNN, who is not happy with the way this thing has been cut together.
Panic has set in across the country as Democrats are shocked by a startling revelation following Thursday night's debate. Joe Biden is not fit for candidacy.
DNC donors and lobbyists have called for him to step aside. The party is furiously planning as to who they will anoint before the August 7th deadline.
Meanwhile, reports coming from Camp David say that Jill and Hunter Biden are adamantly convincing the president to remain in the race.
All right, look, regardless of how this plays out, it's hard to not describe this as a complete disaster for Democrats all across the country who, despite now knowing the true state of their candidate, will go to any lengths in order to keep Donald Trump out of office.
Sources are saying Democrats are starting to rally around who they believe might be their only legitimate chance of beating Donald Trump.
He's a lifelong Democrat. He has a proven track record of decades-long service to this country.
We finally found a candidate who can unite the country.
He knows how to work across the aisle. He knows how to weed out corruption.
He says he knows how to deal with Ukraine on day one of his presidency.
He's strong on inflation. He's strong on affordable housing.
He says he will close the border as soon as he takes office.
All the polls are saying he can take down Trump this November. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, I guarantee you, as much as that sounds like an endorsement from those newscasters and online and television media personalities, that's not really the case. So it is a misleading ad for sure. Yeah, and not even tongue-in-cheek. I think that's straight up misleading. So there is an example of video that can be made to lie. Another example. Okay, let me just get some other stuff queued up here, and I will return on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow. Maybe too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Some people have been asking me if we could do a midnight show. So I'm open to doing that. And I'm going to look in the chat here and interact with you for a moment to get your feedback on that. Is that something you guys would like to do? A midnight show? And if so, what would you like to do on this midnight show? I'm thinking that if we were to do a midnight show, it should be something like, Maverick Midnight Matinee, and run some sort of old movie with a theme that maybe ties into the news of the day or current affairs, and and we could sit and comment and poke fun at these old films while we also comment on the politics of the day, something to that effect. Ham and Egger here, up too early, says. Isabel says might like to do it. Let me just check over here on the Rumble channel. Anybody up for that? Is that something actually, guys, you guys want to do? Now, the thing is, if we do something like that, we can't really run it on YouTube because we will get hammered on copyright issues. They're ruthless. Well, you guys think about it. You can comment through the rest of the broadcast about it, and let me know what you think. Because we could either, we could maybe do this maybe even tomorrow night at midnight, or maybe a week from tomorrow on a Saturday night, or it could be a Friday night. You tell me what night of the week you would like to do that. Obviously, Friday or Saturday night would be best because we would be up late. Certainly here in Ontario, if you're out west in the western U.S. or the western part of Canada, then it wouldn't be so late because of the time difference. But it gets pretty late for me out here, and like Joe Biden, I need my nappy time. One thing is certain, old Joe would be sleepy and probably in bed when we're watching. Now, let's bring up this story here. Speaking of Joe, the Biden and his administration came up with, I think, one of the weirdest and least effective programs. Isabel says Fridays are good. Cool Cat says weekend, yeah. Roger says, why not? That pier for Gaza to get humanitarian aid in, they spent, millions of dollars, right? Just to get this thing over there. Seems like they just got it set up, and it was, hammered with bad weather, aid distribution problems, and now the Pentagon, under Joe Biden's guidance, has announced that they will be shutting it down. The pier has brought in like 8,100 metric tons of aid to a marshalling area on Gaza's shore. It began operating back in May. It's 1,200 feet long. This floating pier, it had to be removed multiple times because of bad weather. It just seemed like the craziest. What a weird plan. Anyway, but hey, gonna do what you're gonna do. Let's go to this Pentagon briefing on this, and this was discussed today, and get a better bead on where the Pentagon is at with this.
A little bit more into the about the decision-making process to cease operations. Was that because of these challenges with the sea state and the environmental factors, or was it because aid in Cyprus is dwindling and nearing sort of the end of that?
Well, I think it's important to remember that we always said this was a temporary operation. It was always going to have an end date. That exact end date, I don't have for you right now, but we'll keep you updated on that. I think it's also really important to remember that during the course of the time that JLS has been operating, we acknowledge that there have been bumps in the road. We have had to take it offline. There have been repairs that needed to be made. But you cannot discount the fact that we were able to get nearly 20 million pounds of aid into Gaza, and for onward distribution. We got it in, of course, to the marshalling area. That aid is going to save lives. So I think it's important to remember that in the context of the temporary pier, one, it was always going to have an end date. Two, we're working on other avenues in ways with USAID to get aid into Gaza. And then three, of course, this was always going to be a temporary method. I will go back to the phones and then happy to come back into the room here. Idris, Reuters.
Okay. I don't know, the whole peer thing, to me, it seemed just, forgive me, stupid. Just seemed stupid. Why they could not figure out some way to just truck the stuff in there, it's sort of beyond me. But I think honestly, it was like an attempt at dramatic theater to show the world that they were doing something, for Biden to do something dramatic to generate a lot of attention, something more dramatic than just sending trucks in. We're going to build a big pier and have ships bring stuff in, and airdropping stuff, not good enough. Well, then they were accused of basically crushing people with food because they said that a couple of people got hit by falling pallets of food on parachutes. So the U.S. got blamed for dropping food. So, they couldn't win. They just can't win for losing. Criticized if they do, criticized if they don't. So, but the peer thing just seemed just seemed stupid. Because I think it was a stupid plan. Wow. Okay, what else do we have here? We have, we already touched on that the allegations that the U.S. and Germany foiled that Russian plot to assassinate the CEO of a German arms firm. Out in Fredericton, they've canceled the Pride Festival parade. Here, look at this. Fredericton Pride Festival canceled. Organizers cite harassment and safety concerns. Organizers of the annual Pride Festival in Fredericton say they've canceled this year's edition because the group's board members are facing intense harassment. This story coming from CTV. In a social media post late Thursday night, Fredericton Pride said the decision has not been made lightly and that organizers considered alternatives. The group didn't give details about its reasons for canceling the event, but earlier in July it says it had condemned the backlash it received for its vocal support of Palestinians in the war with Israel and its decision to name an activist organization called Fredericton Palestine Solidarity as Grand Marshal in the city's Pride Parade. Chickens for KFC. It says here, quote, the backlash we have received for our solidarity against genocide has been homophobic, racist, and religiously intolerant, the group said on social media July 4th. Characterizing Palestinians as terrorists is racist and irresponsible. The quote continues, that kind of rhetoric puts Palestinian lives in danger, not just in Gaza, but around the globe. Let me check the chat. My guess is somebody's commenting on this. Anybody commenting on that tonight? Linda's saying that if we do the midnight movie thing, I I should wear a long wig and dress up like Elvira. Cassandra Peterson. I met her. I interviewed her years ago, a long time ago. What a super nice lady she is. Yeah, she was honestly, you meet. Over the years, I've met many media personalities, politicians, some very, very rich people. A lot of them very eccentric. But Cassandra Peterson, one of the most normal people I ever met, very grounded, level-headed, very intelligent, very normal, I would say, which maybe is something you wouldn't expect coming from the mistress of the dark. But yeah, she struck me as being just very, very normal. And she made a big impression on me that way. Very nice person. But that was years ago. I'd have to dig that interview up someplace to see if I could find that for you, to share it with you. Maybe that would be something we could resurrect for the Maverick Midnight Matinee. Let me see, what else do we have tonight? We're kind of doing okay here. All right, let's take a little break. I'm going to see what else I can queue up here for you, and I shall return.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarmingly, some media outlets publishing the same things are true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
In an ocean of lies a century deep, the truth awaits. Choose not the red pill. Choose not the blue pill. For both are an illusion. Discover the power of M. The power of individuality. We are Mavericks. We are the way to the light. Fear not the storm. Join our quest for truth. Truth will set you free. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right. I am back, and breaking news. We have that trial involving Alec Baldwin. The judge announced that the involuntary manslaughter case is being dismissed. This happening mid-trial. Let me bring this up for you. I'll get you the clip of this breaking news. And here we go.
Your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted. Now, with respect to the jury, I don't imagine you all want to return on Monday. I will take care of the jury.
Thank you.
We are in recess. I'm not getting up. I'm gonna.
Dismiss him, Judge. Dismiss him.
Go ahead.
Thank you all for your help. Stay on, okay?
So this is very fresh. So what do we know about this? So this New Mexico judge brought a sudden end to the involuntary manslaughter case, dismissing it in the middle of the trial. And apparently, the judge has said this cannot be filed again. Judge Mary Marlowe Summer dismissed the case and did so based on the misconduct, apparently, of police and prosecutors because of the withholding of evidence from defense. This going back to the shooting and the 2021 incident on the set of the film Rust. So the judge went on here and said, the late discovery of this evidence, she said, during trial has impeded the effective use of evidence in such a way that it has impacted the fundamental fairness of the proceedings. She went on and said, if this conduct does not rise to the level of bad faith, it certainly comes so near to bad faith to show signs of scorching. So apparently the evidence that put an end to the case revealed during the trial's second day of testimony was apparently the existence of ammunition that was brought into the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office back in March by someone, a man, who said that it could be related to Hutchins' killing. Prosecutors deemed the ammunition unrelated and unimportant. Baldwin's lawyers, though, put forward the allegation that that evidence had been buried, and the defense filed one of many different motions that they had made to dismiss the case over evidence issues. So all of this leading to the dismissal today, because this particular effort by the defense found an anchor, and they made this one stick. So Alec Baldwin, a free man, a celebrity trial, being dismissed mid-course today. And I would say that that's a surprise, a big surprise. So we've got all of that. Now, do I have anything else for you this evening? We're kind of getting through the main stories of the night. And for this evening on this Friday, I think we are probably going to wrap up just a little bit early. I'm just going to check the chat again. What are you guys saying about this midnight program? Is this something you would want to do this week, or wait and do it a week from now on a Friday or a Saturday? Just looking in the chat. Anything, any feedback, any additional feedback? Linda's saying, Rick, wear a wig with a long couch just like Elvira. Yeah, Friday, says Linda. So that would be a week from today. Okay. Yeah, we can certainly look at doing that. A week from today on a Friday night. And we'll do the first installment of Maverick Midnight Matinee. Might be a different name between now and then, but I'll get everything said. I am not wearing a wig. I am not going to dress up like Elvira. No, not going to do it. You want me to wear a wig? You guys are sick. Okay. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Once again, if you are so inclined, you can support the program using the various methods already identified at, oops, not there. You can go to mavericknewschannel.ca to go to the website if you want, and there is a link there to the donation pages. But to support the program, you can donate at maverickdonations.com or freedomreporters.com. And you know the routine on the shirts. And I've got these AirPods if we get a donation suitable for that tonight. $75 or more to the highest bidder, and I will send you these. I believe these are Generation 3 AirPods, and they're worth, I guess, about $145.99 is what I'm seeing online. So that's what they retail for. And freedomreporters.com. Love you guys. Really appreciate you guys hanging out here tonight. And I will see you back here in, well, less than 24 hours now at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.